Every book is a crime scene. Someone always leaves changed. Maybe it's the hero. Maybe it's the villain. Maybe it's you. For the next 15 minutes, we're stepping into worlds built from temptation, ambition, love, revenge, madness, desire, and all the beautiful things polite conversation tries to keep hidden. Some stories comfort, others corrupt. Those are usually the interesting ones. So, wherever you are, lock the door, silence the world, and listen closely, because tonight the pages are hungry, and they have excellent taste. Welcome back to 15-Minute Manuscripts. Rain started at 8:17 p.m. By 9, every porch light on Maple Street was on. By 10, 3 children were missing. The police blamed the storm. The parents blamed themselves. Nobody blamed the man walking between the houses because nobody ever saw his face clearly enough to remember it. Only the children did. And the children, everyone knew, imagined things. The first boy vanished behind a row of garbage cans. His name was Elliot Dunn, 8 years old, asthmatic, red raincoat with reflective straps on the sleeves. He had been sent outside by his mother to bring in the recycling bin before the thunderstorm got worse. His mother heard the scream through the kitchen window. Not a long scream, a startled one, sharp, cut short. She ran outside barefoot. The bin lay on its side in the alley, wheels spinning lazily in the rainwater. Elliot's inhaler floated in a puddle nearby, but Elliot was gone. No footprints, no skid marks, no witnesses. Just a sensation, described later by the 3 different neighbors, that something had been standing in the dark between the houses moments before they looked. Something tall, something that moved oddly. The second child disappeared 43 minutes later. A little girl named Naomi Velez vanished from her own bedroom. Second floor, locked window. Parents downstairs watching television. Her older brother claimed he heard breathing in the hallway before the lights failed. Not human breathing. Not animal breathing either. Wet, slow, deliberate. Police found scratches on the outside siding of the house stretching all the way to the roof. No footprints, no blood, nothing useful. By midnight, Maple Street became a prison. Parents locked the doors, fathers paced with baseball bats. Mothers stood, watch at windows. Children cried when the lights flickered. And somewhere in the storm, hidden between the bursts of rain and thunder, something moved from yard to yard. Watching, waiting, hunting. Officer Ben Halpern hated missing kid cases. Not because they were difficult, because they poisoned everything. Every parent became suspicious. Every stranger became monstrous. Every silence felt contaminated. Ben stood beneath the yellow wash of the street lamp while rain hammered the hood of his cruiser. He rubbed exhausted fingers across his jaw and watched crime scene technicians photograph Naomi's window. "You think it's trafficking?" his partner asked. Ben didn't answer immediately. "No," he finally said. "Why not?" "Traffickers don't climb walls." The partner glanced toward the house. Maybe the brother imagined that part. Maybe. But Ben had seen the siding himself. The grooves were real, deep enough to expose fresh wood beneath the paint, like something heavy had climbed the side of the house using bare hands or claws. Thunder cracked overhead. A little farther down the street, a child screamed. Every officer turned instantly. A woman stumbled from her front door carrying a little boy wrapped in blankets. "He saw somebody," she shouted. "In the yard." Ben sprinted through the rain. "What did you see?" he asked the child. The boy's teeth chattered violently. "He was crouching by the swing." "Who was?" "The tall man." Ben exchanged a glance with his partner. "What tall man?" The child pointed toward the neighboring house. He doesn't move right. That sentence stayed with Ben. Doesn't move right. He heard it again 2 hours later from another child, and again the next morning. Always the same wording, as though children recognizing something adults had trained themselves not to see. At 2:13 a.m., the third child disappeared. This time, there was security footage. The image quality was miserable, grainy, black and white footage from a doorbell camera, but it changed everything. The recording showed 10-year-old Marcus Lee riding his scooter down the sidewalk while rain slashed across the lens. Then Marcus stopped, not abruptly, slowly. On the fourth night, Ben saw it himself. Not clearly, never clearly, but enough. The rain had finally stopped, leaving the neighborhood slick and glistening beneath the moonlight. Patrol units crawled slowly through the streets while helicopters circled overhead. Ben walked the perimeter behind the elementary school carrying a flashlight and a shotgun. The playground sat empty before him. Swings creaked softly, metal chains clinking in the wind. He swept the flashlight across the jungle gym. Nothing. Basketball court. Nothing. Then the beam crossed the tree line and paused. Someone stood there, very tall, too thin, motionless between the trunks. Ben raised the flashlight higher. The figure bent sideways unnaturally fast and vanished behind a tree. Ben's pulse detonated. "Dispatch! I've got movement behind the elementary school." Static swallowed his radio. Then came the breathing, close, not loud, wet, directly behind him. Ben spun, nothing there, but the swings were moving now, all of them, back and forth, though no wind blew. His flashlight flickered. Something sprinted across the basketball court, not toward him, around him, circling. Ben caught a glimpse, only in fragments. A shoulder too high, arms nearly touched the pavement, a pale jaw stretched grotesquely wide, and eyes, God, the eyes, not glowing, not supernatural, human, desperately human, as though a starving man were peering out from inside a nightmare. Ben fired twice. The blast echoed across the playground. The figure vanished over the fence in a single fluid movement. By the time backup arrived, Ben was kneeling beside the swings, trying not to vomit, because beneath the rusted slide, they found children's shoes, dozens of them. The tunnels beneath Maple Street were older than the town itself. That discovery came from municipal records buried in city archives, maintenance shafts, drainage corridors, forgotten infrastructure from the 1940s. Miles of narrow concrete arteries running beneath the neighborhood. Most had been sealed decades earlier. Most, not all. Ben stared at the blueprints spread across the hood of his cruiser. "It's living under us," he muttered. The FBI agents beside him looked pale. "You think it's one person?" Ben remembered the way it moved. "No." "What does that mean?" But Ben had no answer. At sunset, another child vanished. This time, witnesses existed. 6 of them. A birthday party had been ending when the power failed across half the block. Parents lit candles. Children screamed excitedly in the darkness. Then somebody noticed 12-year-old Abby wasn't inside anymore. The back door hung open. A teenage cousin ran into the yard and saw something climbing the fence with Abby tucked beneath one arm, not carrying her carefully, dragging her like prey. The cousin described the thing through hysterical sobs. "It was bending wrong." Those exact words again. Bending wrong. The task force mobilized instantly. Ben led a search team into the storm drains at 11:40 p.m. The tunnel smelled of mildew, sewage, and stringent water. Flashlights carved pale tunnels through the darkness, thick as wet velvet. The walls narrowed deeper underground. Scratches marked the concrete, not random, intentional. thousands of them, like sharpened nails dragged endlessly across stone. One officer whispered, "Jesus Christ." Then they found the nest. Children's book bags, blankets, bones, tiny bones. Ben felt his stomach collapse inward. A flashlight beam trembled across the chamber, then landed on the walls. Photographs, hundreds of them. Children taped carefully side by side, some recent, some decades old, faces yellowed by age. The oldest dated back to 1973. "It's been here for years," somebody whispered. A sound echoed deeper in the tunnel. Movement, fast. Ben raised a shotgun. "Police, don't move!" The beam caught a figure skittering across the ceiling. Not metaphorically, literally across the ceiling. Long fingers hooked into cracks in the concrete. A face swung downward toward them, human mostly, but stretched by starvation and deformity into something feral. Its mouth hung open too wide. Its skin looked almost translucent beneath the flashlight glare, and its eyes reflected terror instead of rage, because it wasn't alone. More shapes moved behind it, smaller ones, children, not dead, alive. The creature hissed violently and fled deeper into the darkness. Ben sprinted after it. The tunnel narrowed sharply. Water splashed around its boots. Ahead he heard children crying, then screaming. Then the sound of flesh striking concrete. Ben turned a corner and saw the thing dragging Abby toward a vertical shaft ladder. It moved with horrifying speed on all fours. Ben fired. The blast shattered its shoulder. The creature shrieked, not like an animal, but like a man in unbearable agony. It dropped Abby, then stood upright fully for the first time, 7 feet tall, emaciated, limbs crooked from decades underground. Its eyes darted frantically around the tunnel, not demonic, cornered, terrified, and suddenly being understood. Not a monster born, a monster made. Years hidden beneath the city, years feeding, adapting, and mutating in darkness. The creature lunged, Ben barely dodged in time. Its claws sliced across his vest, hard enough to throw him into the wall. The shotgun skidded away. The thing descended on him instantly. Its breath smelled rotten. Its jaw opened impossibly wide near its throat. Then Abby stabbed it in the neck with a broken piece of pipe. The creature recoiled, screaming. Ben grabbed the shotgun, fired once directly into its chest. The blast hurled it backward into the rushing drainage channel. For one frozen moment, the creature clung desperately to the concrete edge, and Ben saw its face clearly. Not evil, just ruined. A human being eroded into predation. Then the current tore it away into darkness. Gone. 23 children were recovered alive from the tunnels beneath Maple Street. Most could barely speak afterward. Several refused ever to sleep without lights again. 3 officers resigned within the month. One took his own life. The official report blamed a deranged kidnapper living in abandoned infrastructure beneath the town. People accepted the explanation because the alternative was worse. Because nobody wanted to ask how one man survived underground for decades, or whether he had truly been alone down there. Ben retired 6 months later, but sometimes he still wakes up at night remembering the photographs on those tunnel walls. Children from every decade, every generation, watching silently from the concrete dark. And occasionally, during storms, residents of Maple Street report strange noises from storm drains after midnight. Not growling, not screams. Breathing, wet, slow, deliberate. Thank you for tuning in to 15-Minute Manuscripts. If you enjoyed this, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you.